Right, guys. So a lot of people cannot relate with the undeniable benefits of investing until they have something tangible in their account that they can look at and say, "Wow, this stuff really works." And I always earmark $10,000 as being that insurmountable barrier. And the statistics back me up on this, guys. Most people will fail in investing, having never achieved this very critical milestone. And I think a lot of people just throw in the towel. They give up before they hit this mark. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the realistic timeframes that you can expect. How much money does it actually take to get to that $10,000 mark? And that'll give you some real tangible ideas to really sink your teeth into and really think about as you establish somewhat of a framework and understand how long it could potentially take to get up to that first $10,000 mark. So guys, stick around. This is going to be a fundamental wealth building video. You're not going to want to miss out on this opportunity. All right, guys, so welcome into the Trading Academy. This is the compounding calculator that I prefer. This allows me to accommodate for fee structure and making sure that we're being accurate with our assessments. We're trying to estimate here how long it takes to get to the first 10,000. And I had mentioned at the top of the video, this is such a hard milestone for people to get to, and this is why. When you start to look at the numbers here, you'll understand that it does take some commitment to get off the launching pad. But I'm going to demonstrate for you guys a couple scenarios, and what it's going to do is it's going to give you some options. It's going to get you thinking about, hey, listen, I can do a little bit more than what Ryan's talking about as far as a bare minimum, okay? This first 10-year scenario here that's a long time. Long time to get up to your first 10,000. Most people will spend an entire lifetime and never get to this milestone. To get to the $10,000 mark, you're going to want to get there. It's going to have to be a priority to you guys. I've proven on my channel through 2 different conduits that I was able to get up to the $10,000 mark in about 1/10 of the time as this. So it is possible. But it does take discipline, and it does take some understanding of how the numbers shake out and how different inputs are going to affect this amount. In this scenario right here, in 10 years, it's going to take you to get to $10,000 with these 2 conditions. The first being the starting amount of $500. So here we input at 500. You guys can adjust these numbers as you see fit. I provide the Online Trading Academy link in the description of every single one of my videos. You're welcome to use that, input the information as you see fit. Very useful tool, one of the most important tools that I roll out, 100% free of charge, and the Independent Investor channel is not affiliated at all with the Online Trading Academy. I just use this fee and I offer it as a great tool for you guys to factor what I'm going to demonstrate to you guys now. But at a minimum, at $53 a month for 10 years, that is what it's going to take to render that $10,000 mark. So let's jump into the report and we'll take a look at how these numbers shake out. So we're within the report now. You can see here this notation. This is the important part that I mentioned in the calculation, is that this is assuming that we enter into an ETF that charges a 0.03% fee over the course of that 10 years. So that makes the difference between $1,000 and a 2% fee affixed to a similar or a more expensive product that you would hold over that same 10-year period. So that could mean the difference between not making your $10,000 mark and making your $10,000 mark. And I'll show you what I mean when I cruise down here. You can see here this fee structure here, same amount contributed, of course, over the 10 years. That's a fixed amount. That's your $53 per month. The frequency remains the same, or the time period at 10 years, and the starting amount is the same across the board. However, you can see how the performance changes in that you do reach that $10,000 mark within that 10-year period, and you fail to meet that $10,000 mark by being $1,000 shy within that 10-year period. Now, the effect of fees is not going to be so apparent in this smaller amount. In other words, anything less than $10,000 with such a small starting amount and a small monthly contribution to the program is really not going to be as glaring. But when you start to increase those contributions and you start to really increase the time period beyond 10 years, that's really where it becomes apparent to the effect of fees here as opposed to here, and the results that are resulted from that fee that's affixed over the time horizon. So let's go back and we'll check another scenario here. So here's a similar scenario here. If you came to me and said, Ryan, I don't want to wait 10 years. That sucks. You suck. I don't want to do that. I don't want to wait 10 years. I would say I don't blame you. Let's get there as quickly as we possibly can, which is always the encouraging words that I would render to somebody who's looking to start investing. I'm just going to have to tell you, you're going to have to up your game a little bit. Okay, so if you don't want to wait 10 years, you're going to have to upgrade your monthly contributions to this. And so I've earmarked a couple things to make sure that we get to that $10,000 goal and demonstrate the purpose of this exercise, and that if you cut the time that you would need to get to that first $10,000 mark in half. So to put this into context, if you guys are 18 years old and you look at this and you can put this program into place, deploy it, and be at the first $10,000 by the time you were 23, you would be setting yourself up for great wealth in your life. And this is a program that I think anybody who's serious about investing could deploy. Except for the $1,000 starting amount, I would agree and concede that that's fairly aggressive. However, I would say this on the flip side, that anybody that's serious about getting into investing to start could probably justify this starting amount. If you've saved up that $1,000, whatever it may be, then you can expect that within 5 years you can be at that $10,000 mark with the contribution schedule of $125. So this is just a little over double of what the original $53 was on the 10-year. But remember, we're reducing this in half to only 5 years to get to that first $10,000 mark. So we'll kick in, we'll take a look at the report and see where that shakes. So as we continue on with the exercise here, not so glaring on the fee, only over $500. So for you guys that like paying investment fees and don't like saving your own money, you can pay that $556.13 over an anemic 5-year time period. I mean, that's not that much time to accrue $550 of fees. But hey, that's the very reason why I came out with the channel, to help save people on that money. It can mean the difference between your $10,000 mark and not making your $10,000 mark within your 5-year investing time horizon. So here's how the numbers shake out here. 8,500 contributed to the dollars, making an average annualized rate of 7%. So it doesn't have a whole lot of time to compound anyway. So these are really organic figures, and that most of them are contributions. You're not going to have a whole lot of capital appreciation, but $1,000 invested for 5 years at $125 a month is going to render your $10,000. So I do want to show you guys, for the sake of example, one last scenario that's really going to drive home the point here in getting up toward that $10,000 mark. So this last and final example should really hit home for you guys. These are some of the most important videos I put through on YouTube, bar none. You can learn so much from watching my years of experience really be demonstrated through the mathematics and how the factors really do shake out here. So, if you didn't want to wait 10 years to make it to 10,000, great. If you didn't want to wait 5 years to make it to 10,000, great. This is your scenario. But I will premise this scenario with what I had mentioned at the top of this video. Most people will fail to ever get to their first 10,000. So if you're serious about investing and getting off the launching pad and getting to that 10,000 as quickly as you can, this scenario right here demonstrates how you can get here in 2 years, okay? Now, in both of my accounts, the M1 Finance Aggressive Growth and the Vanguard's Passive, I demonstrated how you could do it in even less than 2 years, okay? The Passive I made in about 14 months, and the Aggressive Growth I made in less than a year, okay? So it is possible to get to that first 10,000, and I hope that motivates you guys to really prove the system wrong, in that most people cannot get to that first 10,000 invested. But here's how the scenario shakes out. You're going to have to take 3,250. That's a lot of money, initial starting capital. But I think a lot of people out there can say, you know what, I've got $5,000, $6,000 built up in a savings account. And I don't think that a lot of people have the mental or financial aptitude to look at this 3,250 and say, how much could I realistically turn that into in, let's say, a 2-year time horizon? In other words, they only see 3,250 static, earning an anemic interest rate within the savings account. What they don't see is that in 2 years, with a monthly contribution, that they can turn that into $10,000. This is just wealth building 101, guys. It's the power of compounding, yes, but this is the power of organic dollar cost averaging with a starting amount, because you're not getting a lot of capital appreciation in this scenario. You're only saving $261.50 in fees because the time that's passed is 2 years, and we all know that 2 years goes by very, very quick. So we're going to jump in and look at this final report and see how the numbers shake out. Like I said before here, the savings is very anemic in 2 years. You're not going to notice. But again, for you guys that like to spend your money on investment fees, by all means, knock your socks off. There's your 261 going to the financial planning gods to be lost forever. But if we cruise on down here, this is what it shakes. And again, that fee makes the difference between making that $10,000. Every penny counts, guys. Every drop in the bucket helps to contribute to this bottom line, which is $10,000. We're trying to answer the question of how long it takes to get to $10,000 here. 2 years of investing time horizon, a far cry from the initial 10. 1/5 of the time it takes to get to the same amount. Just changing the factors of contribution, the $3,250 of starting amount, and then finally the $250 per month to contribute to get up to that first $10,000. So guys, with that, we'll kick you back to YouTube. We'll conclude the video. All right, guys, so we've come back out of the compounding calculator. Obviously, getting to that first $10,000 mark is really just getting off the launching pad. That's really what it has to do with. My best advice for you, quite frankly, is to fund as much as you can and get up to that mark as quickly as you can. It is based on those few aspects. How much can you contribute? How quickly can you get up there? And what type of method do you want to take to get up there? A lot of people will take on way too much risk, and they'll end up fluctuating back and forth, and giving up time. If they would just enter into a program that's aligned with what makes sense to them, then they can look at what is going to take realistically. And I'm going to provide you guys, of course, some realistic examples. I've already provided that throughout the course of the Independent Investor channel in bringing 2 of my accounts within specified timeframes to that first $10,000 mark for you guys. And I do that to provide just proof that it's possible. I just think a lot of people out there, they just don't think they can do it. And I'm here to tell you that you can. There's nothing special at all in what I've done. And where people start to really believe in themselves and say, hey, I can do this too, that's when we're really making a mark on the channel. So guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure and subscribe to the channel. Share the message with anybody out there that you think can benefit from the information here that we're putting through. Get them off the sideline. Get them off the launching pad as we've specified here for sure. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the message. And good luck in your investment future.